The Clean Power Hour is brought to you by CPS America, the maker of North America's #1 three-phase string inverter, with over 6 gigawatts shipped in the U.S. The CPS America product lineup includes three-phase string inverters ranging from 25 to 275 kW. Their flagship inverter, the CPS 250-275, is designed to work with solar plants ranging from 2 megawatts to 2 gigawatts. The 250-275 pairs well with CPS America's exceptional data communication, controls, and energy storage solutions. Go to chintpowersystems.com to find out more.
I think the other highlight is that there is finding out you can actually make a living being an unapologetic clean economy disruptor. Polluters, we're here to put you out of business. If you don't like it, too bad, we're coming. And being able to work for the people who are making that happen it's just really neat. And there is a sense of camaraderie that Mark talked about. It's kind of the default setting. There are, humans are messy. You get challenging folks in every walk of life, but you get a lot fewer of them here than in the past two epochs in my career in government and NGO land. Clean economy is much more sane, it's more results oriented, it's calmer.
Are you speeding the energy transition? Here at the Clean Power Hour, our hosts Tim Montague and John Weaver bring you the best in solar, batteries, and clean technologies every week. Want to go deeper into decarbonization? We do too. We're here to help you understand and command the commercial, residential, and utility, solar, wind, and storage industries. So let's get to it. Together we can speed the energy transition.
Today on the Clean Power Hour, we are here at RE Plus with three of my favorite people in clean energy and clean tech communications. We're here with Mike Casey, the founder and president of Tigercomm. We're here with Melissa Baldwin, who's now with Tigercomm. We're here with Mark Sokolove, who's with Q-Cells, but used to be with Tigercomm. And we're going to be geeking out on what has happened in the last 20 years because, lo and behold, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Tigercomm, which is, frankly, a tremendous achievement, Mr. Casey. So congratulations for that. It's great to see you and have you here in my portable recording booth here at RE Plus with 27,000+ other clean tech professionals. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate you having us on.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Excellent.
Yeah,
really nice to be here. The Clean Power Hour is brought to you by Dynawatts. If you're a solar PV asset manager or performance engineer, you need better data and better business intelligence. With Dynawatts' digital twin benchmarking technology, you get more accurate, efficient, and faster performance measurement results. The 4th generation Dino recently completed a technical review by DNV. You can download the report at dynawatts.com. That's DENOWATTS.com. Now back to the show. So Mike, tell us the origin story of Tigercomm. Why, how did you get started, and why the name?
Well, those are two separate questions, so I'll take them in order. The origins of the firm. When I worked in the environmental community, I noticed there were 3 gaps. We were trying to say no to things, no to coal, no to oil, but we didn't have something to say yes to. I also noticed that the mechanisms to deliver an alternative narrative were pretty rickety, and they were threadbare nonprofits, nascent associations. There wasn't a lot of infrastructure there. And the third was there was a best practices and skills gap between those who were trying to advocate for a more sustainable economy and those who were entrenched in a polluting economy. And I thought, how do you solve those 3 things? So I literally have a list in a piece of paper in my dresser drawer from the early 2000s. I started listing out the ways that I could solve this problem, and the last choice on the list was starting a firm. And I just worked my way down the list, saying, "Oh, can't do that. Oh, that's a dead run." And I finally got to running a firm. And the deterrent was that I love the work and I love the issues, and I didn't know that I wanted to be like a business person. But I must say, 20 years later, I've kind of gradually fallen in love with the job in different phases. And then your question about the name. So why is it named Tigercomm? And There's several reasons. First, I didn't want to name it after myself because I wanted to design a place where the climate concerned communicator could maximize his or her impact. So how do you go out and find talented people who are really concerned about the climate crisis and realize that we cannot solve this problem by regulating polluting industries into being less bad? We have to grow industries that can displace polluting industries. And how do you find those people? And if you do, can you give them a platform where they can really harness their commitment and their passion? And then the other reason we picked the name is because it was kind of how the way we roll, and I say still the way we roll. It's with speed and it's power and agility, because the clean economy is very dynamic, and you really need that approach, I think, to drive change.
Yeah, we have to have a sense of urgency. There's 1 trillion tons of pollution in the atmosphere causing global warming, and that pollution is getting worse by 1% every year, right? ppms of CO2 are going up, not down. Sometimes clean energy professionals forget that. We get wooed by the takeoff. The takeoff is happening, right? We're still at the bottom of the S-curve, but solar, wind, and batteries are the fastest growing sources of energy on the grid now, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to clean the grid. It's going to happen, right? Money is just flowing like a tide into solar, wind, and batteries and other forms of energy storage and energy efficiency and electrification of transportation and electrification of heavy industry, et cetera, et cetera. It's a wonderful time to be alive, and it's a horrifying time to be alive because we see the real results, right, of climate change kicking people's butts. And frankly, here in America, where we have a very high standard of living, it's that softens the blow. It's people in the less developed world who are really taking it on the chin and really going to be migrating en masse, and that's going to be the major disruption, is like the disruption of food systems. It's that causes mass migration, and when mass migration occurs, humans don't deal well with that. They really freak out. So we have to have a sense of urgency. Melissa, give us a little background on yourself. We did an interview, a year ago or so when you had just joined the team at Tigercomm, but how's that going? And, when you think about communications in clean tech, if you have some, retrospective introductory comments to make, that would be great.
Sure. So I want to tackle a few of those things, but first I want to speak to something that you were just talking about. And for me, it's been really remarkable because ever since I learned about climate change in 1999, I knew that this is what I wanted to dedicate my life and my career to. And it's been really exciting and honestly really challenging for many, many years. And so it does feel like we are at a moment right now where we're really starting to turn that corner. But I share your just sense of, there's still so much work to do, right? I just saw that same article I think you were talking about where we looked at, the emissions are still going up. But we have a lot to work with. Solar, utility scale solar is the lowest cost, fastest growing form of electricity. It's being uptaken across the globe. And so there's a lot to be excited about there. So as I think back over the last 20 years for me as well, because I've been working in this space for 20 years, I will say there was a moment for me at this show that was really cathartic. I was walking down the hall and I passed my very first customer. I started my firm in 2011, and it was because SolarSource, which is a solar contractor, reached out to me and asked me to write a press release. And so here they are today. That company is 40 years old. And so it's just incredible how all of these companies are maturing and they're growing, and we're maturing right alongside of them. So that talks a little bit about the history. Since I've joined Tigercomm, that's right, it was about 2 years ago that we spoke, one of my first few months working for Mike. It's been an incredible ride. This is a fun guy to work with. It's been really exciting to get on board with Mike to really start working outside of nonprofits, to work for corporate companies that are doing business in clean energy that are incredibly successful. And it's been really exciting to grow a team of people who want to do this work. Mike said something earlier. He said, we want to attract people who want to work in the clean economy. And it started with us attracting them, but and us seeking them actually. But what has been really cool in the last 2 years is that they are finding us. And to me, that's a key metric of our success, is that we have people who don't work in the clean economy who are coming to us and saying, I want to work for you because I want to work on this issue.
Yeah. I love what you said about you knew you wanted to work on climate change. That's one of the things I love about solar and clean tech is there's so many mission-driven entrepreneurs and business people and activists. And, it's easy to get up and be energetic about going to work because you're not alone. There
Yes.
are
Well said.
tens
Well
of
said.
thousands of people who are really working very, very concertedly to make the transition. The energy transition is the easy part, Mark. It's only 40 gigatons of pollution, but you work for a solar panel manufacturer, a battery manufacturer, a solar developer, a solar EPC of Q-Cells is an amazing example of how capitalism can do good in the world. But give us a little bit of an intro to yourself. You and Mike worked together for how long?
14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you transitioned a couple of years ago now.
Right.
But yeah, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess first just to echo what Melissa was saying. Yeah, I joined the clean tech industry. Yeah, because I wanted to make sure I was able to be part of making that impact. I met Mike first in the environmental community. I remember that the first time I met you, or walking down the street in DC, and he was very animated, and I was like, wow, this is a guy I think I want to kind of try to learn from, hitch my wagons to. At the time, it wasn't exactly right, but then a year later, we joined forces, and as Mike was saying, we both come from the environmental community. Environmental groups are very well-meaning. They have their role, but you're not going to beat something with nothing. And so, yeah, you see companies like Q-Cells, and it's just amazing, just the show itself, how it's grown. 20 years ago, it fit in one ballroom, and now you've 30,000 professionals here. As you said, Tim, a lot of them mission-driven. But yeah, my kind of growth trajectory, Mike and I, we started this firm to really, advance that ball on sustainability. And it's kind of interesting, one of our first solar clients actually had manufacturing here in Las Vegas. I guess it's kind of come full circle. And it's just amazing to kind of see that trajectory, since then with the industry. And, I've just been very blessed to be able to have that opportunity on the agency side and then be able to advise companies, a company now in-house that's, really, trying to put capital investment behind, solving, the greatest challenge of our times.
I wonder if we could answer the question, why do companies need PR and marketing firms? You obviously are part of a big, robust corporate communications team at Q-Cells, and we all work with corporate communications teams, but it's a both-and world, right?
Yes.
To be most impactful and to achieve their mission, companies really do need partners like us. But if you could all, or some of you chime in on why exactly that is.
I think Mark and Melissa would do a really good job answering that question. I'm going to echo something you said, Tim, in different words. Melissa said this well. What's really cool about working in this sector, this clean economy sectors, is, yes, the meta narrative is gathering momentum, dwindling time. And it's a total dice roll whether or not what we're doing here, what we're doing with our daily lives can help meaningfully address this crisis. But there's a bunch of magic moments you get when you work in this space. Melissa had one when she saw her first client. This is one for me. I've got two people here who, no way would our firm have succeeded like it has without these two people. I mean, we are standing on their shoulders for sure. Mark and I talked when he left the firm. I remember thinking, this is a guy I've talked to 3 times a day for 14 years, like we're Siamese twins. And just being able to see the growth in these two professionals and being able to sit here and kind of recount it all, bookending the first number 2 who, did so much to establish it, and the new number 2 who's taking it forward. I mean, it's hard to overstate how hard clean economy Marcom was in the early days when Mark and I were doing it. It was, it was like living at a CrossFit gym. There wasn't not an ounce of fat on you. It was like rice bowl and a mat, and that's all you had, because they were disruptors with disruptor budgets. So I just think for the viewers and listeners, I think it's important just to see, like, this is a bookend, and it's like, it's a magic moment to be able to do this, Tim.
The Clean Power Hour is brought to you by CPS America, the maker of North America's #1 three-phase string inverter, with over 6 gigawatts shipped in the U.S. The CPS America product lineup includes three-phase string inverters ranging from 25 to 275 kW. Their flagship inverter, the CPS 250-275, is designed to work with solar plants ranging from 2 megawatts to 2 gigawatts. The 250-275 pairs well with CPS America's exceptional data communication, controls, and energy storage solutions. Go to chintpowersystems.com to find out more.
So, but to your question, what I think is the more meaningful one, why do companies need services like we offer? I'm going to turn that over to my two awesome friends.
Yeah, so initially, a lot of times when a company will approach us, they're typically looking for traditional public relations, which is my background in bread and butter, so I do enjoy that. Just generating earned media is what a lot of companies think of. When they think of PR, they think of, okay, what news announcements do I have? What news am I going to make? But if we step back a little bit and think about, what is a business doing? They're good at doing their core business, whether it's making solar panels or energy tech, some of their storage technology, or a service provider in the energy sector. They're good at their core business, and it's our job to help them tell their story to the people who they want to speak to. And so one of the things that we really focus on in our business is taking a step back and doing that strategic planning, because we find that a lot of companies have not taken the time to do that, or maybe they did it a while ago and things have changed. And so when you're designing a communications campaign, you really want to design it. We like to design them on, focusing on a campaign of 6 months to 18 months. And so we want to take a step back and look at what is the goal that you want to achieve? What do you want? And who are the people who can give that to you? So what do you want and who can give that to you? And that's how we design strategic communications campaigns, and that's what companies come to us to seek. And so a lot of times they come thinking, I need that initial public relations, I need that news announcement, and we work with them to take a step back and say, why are you making this announcement? What are you saying? Who are you saying it to? What do you want to get out of this? And so that's a part of the work that we do. Another big part of the work we do is in thought leadership, because the media landscape has changed so dramatically. We think about 15 years ago, then and now. I mean, even I'm old enough that when I went to college, social media wasn't, it was just beginning. And so the channels are numerous. And so that's another area where we work on with our clients, is just in telling their story in multiple channels through thought leadership, through saying something interesting, not just about themselves, but about the general marketplace, something that their customers or their target audience will care about. And I'll pass it to Mark to add anything you want to add there.
Sure, yeah. I would add that I think for a PR agency, a marketing agency in the clean tech space to help their clients be successful, to add value, I think you almost, and it'll vary depending on, the budget and the scope, but, really becoming that extension to the team. I mean, I'll just tell you a quick anecdote. One of the very first clients, as I was kind of mentioning before, that Mike and I took on in the early days of the firm, I remember, a person I had to they called me. I was like, hey, let me get back to you. I need to take care of something. And then I try to call her back as soon as possible. And I said, apologize for the having to jump off the call. I had to handle something for another client. And her response was like, oh, I didn't even realize you guys had other clients. And to me, that was like the biggest compliment. Right. As a service provider, is like awesome. You're basically there's it's seamless. And just that extension of them. And so I think now being in-house with a clean economy company, that's kind of what I look for, when I'm, looking for outside support, and there's different agencies will specialize in, different parts of Marcom. But I think really, like as Melissa said, understand, stepping back, what's the outcome? And I think that's something that also I see internally in corporate environments as well is, people are like, super smart, when it comes to like developing a product, someone, particularly, in engineering or in the sales team or operations, but sometimes they lose sight, I find sometimes, of like what's the outcome. And that's where I think the market communications function can be effective, and in particular, sometimes the outside agency can kind of bring that perspective that maybe you can't necessarily always get in-house.
Yeah.
Tim, I'll add something. So why does a clean economy company hire a communications firm? There's kind of two reasons you do it. Do you need execution help? You know what you want to do. You don't have the staff and people to do all of it because it's a special project or it's surging past your current capacity. We're going to call that an arms and legs firm, and they exist, and some of them are very skilled. And you hire them because you can't cover all the work, or you need particular things done at a certain proficiency that's uneconomical to bring it in-house. Then there's an expert firm. And that's what we've really deliberately gone out of our way to be. So why would you hire us? You hire us because, particularly in a disruptive sector, very few companies have the budget to pay someone to just do the same thing lots of times and build up massive expertise, and then aggregate that expertise so it's strategically available for their leadership team. But the way the market is structured, we have a reason to camp out on account after account after account to see patterns, to see trends, and to sand sift on the tactical choices and know what works. So the things that both Melissa and Mark talked about as needs for clients of firms like ours, that's only made possible when people have camped out and done this work over and over and over again with the intention to build up strategic expertise. So you have basically, at our firm, you have 157, 164, I can't remember what the count is right now, years of total combined experience. If you're your typical clean economy company, there's no way you can have that level of integrated expertise in your shop. It would be unaffordable.
Yeah. So when you think back, though, when you look back at your success stories, what are some things that you're proud of? What are some high watermarks for you all? And one of the things that's present for me is some companies make it easy to fall in love with them. Q-Cells is one of those companies. Honestly, like they're building this, ingot to wafer to cell to panel factory here in America, in Georgia, right? And that's just awesome. And it's a Korean company, but I love them as much as I love Nextracker. You guys hosted a wonderful event earlier this week. Nextracker just ribbon cutted a factory here making torque tubes in Las Vegas. And these are both a function of the IRA. So there's that backdrop, right? We need good government. We need good incentives to onshore and reshore manufacturing. But what are some high water marks for you all?
How long do you have? 20 years is a long time to pile those up, my friend.
Be selective.
You go first, Mark. You order first.
or a particularly challenging problem that you solved for a customer would be another interesting story.
Over the last 20 years or over the last year?
Take your pick. We're here celebrating
just
20 years of Tigercomm.
What you ever did in the past. What's wrong with you?
Your experience before Tigercomm is just as relevant as your experience with Tigercomm.
What about you, Mark? What's a high water mark?
I would say when we did the ribbon cutting with Governor Schwarzenegger.
Yes, that was cool.
In the California desert in Bakersfield, beautiful Bakersfield. I will never forget that. The 50-degree temperature swing.
Oh my God.
That was definitely a high water mark.
What exactly was that event?
So the Tigercomm's client at the time, Osra, which was a compact linear Fresnel was the technology, concentrated solar power, opened up a facility right off the highway in Bakersfield. And it was a ribbon cutting media event with Governor Schwarzenegger, with the customer at the time, PG&E.
This was a CSP plant?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was the name of that plant? Do you know?
The Kimberlina Solar Thermal Power Plant.
Kimberlina?
Kimberlina Solar Thermal Power Demonstration Plant.
Okay.
It was kind of nestled in a field, almond fields.
Yeah.
There.
What
And,
year was that? Approximately?
At least, I think it was 10, 11.
2010?
Yeah, it was about
Yeah.
This is
2009,
an old man asking an older man and a somewhat
Yeah.
younger man to match these memories, Tim. I think this is a
I
very
know.
ageist thing
Those
to
brain
do.
cells are dead.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yes, thank you.
Dude, good save.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up, the evolution of technology. You guys have obviously seen a tremendous evolution of clean tech over the years. That's another thing to comment on. But do you have any other highlights you want to share with us?
Well, I have two. I mean, I think certainly for me, working for Mike, Nextracker has been a great client of ours, and they're doing really interesting things, which is incredible. So typically, ribbon cuttings are a lot of work, right? Events are a lot of work, and the media aren't always necessarily after the ribbon cutting itself. They're after the story behind it. Who are the workers there? What are the jobs that are created? What is the economic investment? But it's absolutely been a pleasure working with Nextracker on the whole campaign. They've opened up over a dozen factories in the last 2 years, the most recent of which you were at, Tim, and that was an exciting day on Monday. So that was a high water mark for me. But another thing that really makes me feel good is when I see my team just delivering for clients. We've got a team of people who've come to us, who've come to work here in the clean economy. They're learning, they're growing. And when I see my team just using their intuition and their skills to deliver, that's what really makes me happy, because I see their growth and it just makes me feel excited and proud to be working with such a robust team of people who want to be here, who want to do this work, who feel as good about doing the work as I do. And it feels good to do good.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo that, I think that, obviously we're at the show with a lot of people that are dedicated to the mission, and I think it's the people behind the technology that I think really make it happen. I saw that when I was at Tigercomm, I see that in Q-Cells, I see that with a lot of people in my network, and industry colleagues that at the end of the day, if you have a solid team that are all rowing in the same direction and are kind of focused, that can really make the difference in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I love that theme. It's not the tech, it's the people behind the tech. And the tech is cool.
Tech is cool,
and it's
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Torque tubes are important.
Yeah.
And I find racking fascinating, but I'm a geek. But the job creation and the high wage job creation is so important while we're cleaning the economy.
Exactly.
What about you, Mike? When you look back, what are you proudest of?
Boy, that is a really hard question to answer, because there's just so many of them. And I notice that as the years go by, I get older, the sources of the most profound reward have begun to shift from the big to the small. So when I have a client POC that emails me and says, I really am benefiting from what you're showing me, that's huge. When I see a young person on our team who does something and I look at it and it doesn't need to be changed, that's growth. And just, I think, seeing humans grow, whether they're giving you a check or you're giving them a check, it's really cool. It's just really cool. And I think the other highlight is that there is finding out you can actually make a living being an unapologetic clean economy disruptor. Polluters, we're here to put you out of business. If you don't like it, too bad, we're coming. And being able to work for the people who are making that happen it's just really neat. And there is a sense of camaraderie that Mark talked about. It's kind of the default setting. There are, humans are messy. You get challenging folks in every walk of life, but you get a lot fewer of them here than in the past two epochs in my career in government and NGO land. Clean economy is much more sane. It's more results oriented. It's calmer, and it's hard. We're telling the most powerful industry on earth, hey, that's my seat, get off the couch. what do we expect them to do? They're not going to go, oh, sure, and can I get you your coffee? I mean, they're just not going to do that. So it does make the work stressful. But doing it with the people that predominate the space, doing it for those people, it's cool. It's really neat.
The Clean Power Hour is brought to you by DynaWatts. If you're a solar PV asset manager or performance engineer, you need better data and better business intelligence. With DynaWatts' digital twin benchmarking technology, you get more accurate, efficient, and faster performance measurement results. The fourth generation Dino recently completed a technical review by DNV. You can download the report at dynawatts.com. That's DENOWATTS.com. Now back to the show. Well, thank you guys so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I want our listeners to know that you can find all of our content at cleanpowerhour.com. Please give us a rating and a review on Apple and Spotify. Check out our YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I love hearing from my listeners. I love connecting with people. And if you're interested in coming on the show, chat me up. We can have a pre-call and make it happen. Hey, listeners, this is Tim. I want to give a shout out to all of you. I do this for you twice a week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your time. I really appreciate you and what you're all about. You are part and parcel of the energy transition, whether you're an energy professional today or an aspiring energy professional. So thank you. I want to let you know that the Clean Power Hour has launched a listener survey, and it would mean so much to me if you would go to cleanpowerhour.com, click on the About Us link right there on the main navigation. That takes you to the About page, and you'll see a big graphic, Listener Survey. Just click on that graphic, and it takes just a couple of minutes. If you fill out the survey, I will send you a lovely baseball cap with our logo on it. The other thing I want our listeners to know is that this podcast is made possible by corporate sponsors. We have two wonderful sponsors today, Chin Power Systems, the leading three-phase string inverter manufacturer in North America, and DynaWatts, a performance monitoring platform for utility scale solar. So check out CPS America and DynaWatts. But we are very actively looking for additional support to make this show work. And you see here our media kit with all the sponsor benefits and statistics about the show. You know, we're dropping 2 episodes a week. We have now over 320,000 downloads on YouTube, and we're getting about 45,000 downloads per month. So this is a great way to bring your brand to our listeners, and our listeners are decision makers in clean energy. This includes project executives, engineers, finance, project management, and many other professionals who are making decisions about and developing, designing, installing, and making possible clean energy projects. So check out cleanpowerhour.com, both our listener survey on the About Us and our media kit, and become a sponsor today. Thank you so much. Let's grow solar and storage. The Clean Power Hour is brought to you by CPS America, the maker of North America's #1 three-phase string inverter, with over 6 gigawatts shipped in the U.S. The CPS America product lineup includes three-phase string inverters ranging from 25 to 275 kW. Their flagship inverter, the CPS 250-275, is designed to work with solar plants ranging from 2 megawatts to 2 gigawatts. The 250-275 pairs well with CPS America's exceptional data communication, controls, and energy storage solutions. Go to chinpowersystems.com to find out more.